You're not pulling this out of a magic hat. This got to come from somewhere.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and it's funny you bring up that subject because I wanted to go over an article which I think I sent to you before.
I can't read. I drink too much fluoride.
That's another discussion. But I think I sent you this article before, and this really goes along with what we were just talking about. It comes from End of the American Dream, and it's an article in regards to 30 stupid things the government is spending money on. And what a lot of people don't realize is when you're talking about the government spending money, well, whose money is that? That's our money. Obviously, the government doesn't have its own money. It comes from somewhere. So it's taxpayer money. So the more accurate for the article would be 30 stupid things the government is spending our money on.
Uncle Sam has deep pockets.
Yes, he does. And I'm not going to go through all 30 of them here, but I just wanted to point some of these out because it's really funny. So number one being the U.S. government is spending $750,000 on a new soccer field for detainees held at Guantanamo Bay.
I want a new soccer field.
I don't even play soccer, and I would love a soccer field. Number two, the Obama administration plans to spend $16 to $20 million helping students from Indonesia get master's degrees.
We need more masters.
Isn't that sweet? Number three, if you can believe it, the U.S. government has spent $175,587 to determine if cocaine makes Japanese quail engage in sexually risky behavior.
The answer is yes, but I could have told you that for free.
Right. Oh, man. If you give me half of that, I would have told you that. The U.S. government has spent $200,000 on a tattoo removal program in Mission Hills, California.
Whose tattoos are they removing?
I don't even want to know. Number five, the federal government has shelled out $3 million to researchers at the University of California at Irvine to fund their research on video games such as World of Warcraft. Would we all love to have a research job like that?
Why? Aren't there people that have real needs in America?
Oh, man. This is just, I don't want to read all of them, but it's I'll tell you, it's going to be pretty hard for me not to.
No, I think we brought that up a little ways back, how some of these programs we're still paying for them, and the programs don't even exist anymore, except that the money is still being allotted to those programs.
Right.
That's a big sham.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is.
And this is why libertarians don't like taxes, because they have to serve a purpose, and they're not. If it's serving a purpose, none of us mind. It's like, you all chip in and pave the road. Fine. Cool. Great.
Yeah, I mean, of course, taxes are necessary to a certain degree, but, I mean, again, it has to make sense. We have to know where it's going. I mean, a lot of these things are just common sense issues. That's the craziest thing, is that anyone who can argue against the libertarian view, it boggles my mind, because it's all based on what should be just common sense.
Well, as we know, common sense is not
that common.
No, it's not. But you know what? Some people really want someone to do the work for them. And, so instead of doing it themselves, they're willing to pay. And you know what? Because we believe in freedom, you're free to do that. However, the problem that I will forever run into is the gun pointed at my head, telling me I have to do it. No. Now there's a problem. Right. And that's why I'm here right now. Right. I can't stand this. I see it going in that direction. It doesn't work. It's never worked in history. You don't do that. That's not... I mean, why do you want to give away your freedom? Why? Right. If you want to pay out the Watsu your taxes, knock yourself out, man. Give all your money to the poor. I will never stop you. But if you want to point a gun at my head and then tell me I shouldn't have a gun, and then tell me I have to do what you say, doesn't this kind of like ring a little odd?
Right. Well, that's the definition of tyranny. That's the definition of tyranny. That's the definition of communism, which, again, as we've discussed before, communism as an ideal isn't necessarily a bad thing if it does genuinely mean sharing. But the problem is that you can't force people to share. Then the spirit of the thing goes out, and then it's just a tyranny. Especially if we agree as a society that absolute power corrupts absolutely, and the administrators have all the power, history's already proven that those who have all the power keep it all for themselves anyway.
And that's actually, they're trying to absorb more of it. Checks and balances is a very big deal. And, I could forever talk about checks and balances, but you have to know, I'll put it into like warfare style talk. If the leaders who created the wars had to go and lead the battle at the front, do you think we would have as many wars?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
That's a good question, but I mean, because a lot of time the wars that we have nothing to do with what the expressed reason is.
Right. Now, to our listeners, we don't want to all be the choir. Hopefully we get some new listeners and we enlighten them to the fact that they'll start a war because they don't have anything to lose. They're not going to go get in the front. And, us as American citizens, we are the last, really great country, in my opinion. If you disagree, I don't know why you're living here.
Right.
Go to that great country that you dream of, wherever it's at. Canada's not bad, but I'm happy here. So if the people that we elect to do a job are held responsible, they'll start singing a different tune. If you say, okay, Mr. Obama, right now you want to go start a new war?
Right.
Absolutely. Pick up a rifle and get on the front.
Go to town.
Well, I'm too smart for that. No, you're not. You're a freaking community organizer from Chicago. You haven't done anything with your life, that shows anything spectacular. You haven't. You go out there. You want to start the war. I'll follow. You lead. Not go throw me out in front of bullets. This is not a leader. And I think the philosophy has been lost here. All the great leaders of old stood behind what they did. I don't understand where we're at. It doesn't make sense to me anymore.
No, it doesn't.
Fluoride.
Gotta love that fluoride. Speaking of fluoride, no, I'm not going to get off on that tangent. But yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's just, you see all these warmongers. When I think back about a couple years ago when Obama was given the Peace Prize. Come on, right? And it's and everybody's just towing the party line. You've got this false left-right paradigm where the Republicans are battling the Democrats, and Democrats are battling the Republicans. All on our behalf, and yet at the same time, if you take a step back and really look at it, they're all beating the same drum. Which right now, it's the drums of war.
Yep, it's like one man with two socks, one on each hand, arguing to himself. And all the people are seeing is the two sock puppets bickering back and forth, and they're not stepping back far enough to see that it's the same man, just one's on the left hand, one's on the right, having a conversation with itself.
Right.
It's quite amusing.
Yeah.
I like my analogy.
I like your analogy. I always like your analogies.
I don't know where that came from.
But it blows my mind that that anybody still in this day and age who's paying at least a little bit of attention could defend either side of these imbeciles.
Yeah, because now listening to Obama this last speech about getting involved, I was like, oh great, it's Bush 7.0.
Right.
All over again.
Right.
Didn't we just finish listening to this?
Right.
And then where are the outcries?
Right.
Where are the people that are like, no more wars? You promised no more wars. They're not out there.
Right.
Okay, I take that back. From what I've been listening to on talk radio, and by the way, I listen to everything. I'm not lopsided on that.
Sure.
I'll listen to anything. Conservative, liberal. I want to hear what you have to say. And if you're convincing, I might even believe it. But the supposed word on the streets is that Democrats are very, very disappointed with Obama right now.
Sure. Well, people are waking up.
But it's too late.
People are waking up. Yes, it is too late.
You voted for it.
Yeah. Too little, too late. Don't complain now. And I'm hoping that this is going to be the time now, even though sometimes I'll have discussions with people where I'm so shocked at the level of ignorance, willful ignorance, nonetheless, of the still just towing that party line, still to this day. After everything that's happened over the last 8 years, and again, and I want to make it perfectly clear here that I'm not. This isn't a show. If you've been listening, if you're a new listener, if you're an old listener, you already know this. But if you're a new listener, this is not the Bash Obama show.
Speak for yourself.
Well, we're
you
not.
brought me on. I'm going to bash.
Yeah, no, right. No. Well, don't get me wrong. I mean, the man deserves to be bashed, but this isn't about bashing Democrats. Is what I should say. It isn't about bashing Democrats or Republicans unevenly. I guess is that the word I'm looking for?
Everybody should be bashed for what moronic decisions they make.
We bash them equally. We're indiscriminately bashing both.
Bro, when Obama got elected, I'm like, listen, my feeling on this is that he's full of BS. But honestly, if he's going to change the world and make it a better place, let's give him, y'all voted for him.
Give him the benefit of the doubt.
Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's see it in action.
Right.
Let's not just hate somebody just because they're not on our party or they're not,
right.
They wear a different label than us.
Right.
And, I was open to that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it happened exactly the way I foresaw it.
Right.
All lies.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was right. I'm right there with you at the time. During the first election, I wasn't. I haven't been for a long time. I haven't been a Democrat. I was early on in my life, but I wasn't a Democrat at the time. So, as far as the typical Democrat leanings, I'm typically not for. So I wasn't for the guy. Again, like yourself, I kind of felt like everything was BS. But once he was elected, it was like, okay, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Kind of at that point, you really don't have a choice anyway. He's already in office. You have no choice but to give him benefit of the doubt. So, I kept my mouth shut, though, and said, okay, he's here. Let's see what happens. But within the first 3-4 months, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is pretty much exactly what I thought it was going to be.
But we're trained to be like that. From our childhood up is to support our team, right?
Right.
And to not question authority, and to fall in line, and to drive on the right side of the road. You're trained from your youth up, and there's some merit and virtue to being loyal, but then there's the other side of that, and it's the Athenian philosophy that you cannot back out of an argument, that you have to state your case and explain yourself and why you believe what you believe. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but the Athenians had this thing that you cannot stand down a confrontation. And I find it fascinating because it forces you to question your own beliefs, hear the beliefs of others.
Right.
And I think that's a very healthy thing.
Absolutely.
Besides the fact that I teach, self-defense and things of that nature and how to change yourself, I think that everybody should understand why they're doing what they're doing. And if you're willing to question, not be disrespectful. You don't have to go up to your coach and be like, you're a prick. I hate you. I'm not running that play. Your coach may see something that you don't. It's okay to question it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to create a rebellious spirit, but developing your intellect and thinking for yourself, think about how much more powerful and happy you'll be if you make good decisions based on facts.
Right. Well, not only self-empowered, but empowering to the world around you. And really, I'm a firm believer, and I really honestly believe this. And it may sound kind of hippie-ish or whatever. Thank you, sir. May sound kind of hippie-ish, but I really honestly believe
Cut your hair.
That
Just kidding.
that line of thinking is.
I have hair in me. I'm bald.
I was thinking about that, about how opposite we are in our appearances, but it's great.
You're cool and I'm not.
Yeah, right. No, you got the muscles.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
I've got the hair, but you've got the muscles, so I think it's an even trait.
I gotta pull a girl somehow.
Yeah, right.
Go on.
But no, I'm a firm believer in that. Having that mentality, like you said, where to kind of be a critical thinker and to be able to have the ability to change your mind based on the evidence that's presented to you, really does that's one of the few things that I think genuinely affects true change for the better in this world. Because the evidence is in the current state of the world today. When you speak to individuals, like a lot of the people that I speak to, who still continue to toe the party line, when the evidence is clear that there's no real genuine reason why you should, and they still do anyway vehemently, even though the evidence is contrary to their beliefs. But I hold out hope at the same time, because a lot of people that I speak to, on the other hand, far outweigh.
I just got to cut in.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I love about libertarian philosophy. And I don't even label myself as a libertarian. I just happen to fall into that category because of the way I think. But you're so fair, and you're never trying to force your belief on anybody.
Right.
And like your friend, our that called in the other day, Richard,
Right.
he was somebody that was staunch Democrat and completely like focused